All right, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. Our our final market day before Christmas. Not our final meeting. We are having Christmas Eve together. It's a best friends club / market watch group meeting on Christmas Eve. Of course we will. Of course. Hi Perry, good to see you. Hi Sandra. I go back and forth between Sandy and Sandra. Is that okay? I hope it's I, I do the same with my kids and their names and nicknames. So, anyways, I hope your internet stays up as well, Stephen. Uh, is everybody? We've got a good amount of people already. Let's give it one more minute. So I'm going to tell you this. I don't even care if IBM fails. Just the setup alone, just the setup and how it hit my floating next trade line. I thought that was fun. I'm like, yeah, I'm taking it. Looks good still. Looks good still. If you haven't been coming to the options class, I'm figuring out ways to make you come and watch the recordings. But I'm going to start slapping on, especially some of these calendars and diagonals, iron condors, and we're going to look at them together in as real time examples. I'm just popping them in my paper trade account. And you're welcome to follow along on paper if you're feeling like you want to put a contract or two on, right? Whatever you decide. But we're going to look at them as a group, which means that to understand the basis of it, you'll have to watch the recordings. So there you go. All right, I think we have everyone. Let's dive in. Welcome everybody to the Market Watch Group weekly market wrap, where I was able to download it but not look into it yet. It's been kind of hectic with Christmas, and we've been having apparently our house is like a in/shuttle service for a few cousins that go to college in the area. Um, but it's on my list. It's on my list. Weekly market wrap. I'm Scott. It's 3:15 p.m. Eastern, a little past. Here's our disclaimers. Here's our agenda. Today's market analysis, of course, we'll look at the posture and just kind of forecast what we think it's going to look like next week. Are we carrying trades over? Well, I'm certainly carrying IBM. That's a fact. There's some signals. Hopefully, you got some trades on, and if you did, tell me which ones. But we'll look at the watch list and see, and maybe you decide you want to slap something on towards the end. It's up to you. We will revisit. Can we see it? Oh, of course. I'm gonna. Oh yeah. We're gonna revisit the. No, sorry. We're gonna talk about next week's calendar and what to look for. Well, first thing is don't look for the market on Monday. And so some time decay trades are gonna carry through the weekend. I have an I have an interesting shape on the SPY. When we talk about risk profiles, you're gonna see I have a calendar that's a week old, a calendar that started today, a diagonal that started today. It actually creates quite a lovely structure. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I like this. So we'll talk about that. We'll look at the list and we'll talk about wrapping up your trading goals. I almost feel like we take a week off next week. We're going to take next week off for trading plan. It's the week between New Year's and Christmas and New Year's. Let's start with section 1, the first week of January, right? Like that's like the perfect time to start a new pass at our trading plan. So we're going to take 1 week off. We're going to rest, mentally allow ourselves to recover and process the year a little bit. Process gives them a week to catch up. Love it. Okay, let's dive in. You can see we were bullish, and then all of a sudden it dipped, but came back a little bit. So not a great finish, but reasonable. Reasonable. We can live with it. Nike plunges amid sales warning. New inflation reading could clinch the Fed's dovish shift. Dovish meaning more accommodating in their monetary policy. We'll see that here in a second when we go. Let's just go. Let's go now. So here's the January 31st, and still mostly just looking for unchanged 6-1 approximately. But when you go to the March, look at that. Now it's 7-1 for a cut. 7-1 for a cut. And they're giving it actually slightly better odds for a 50 basis point cut than they are unchanged. And when you go to May 1st, you can see that the market's looking for 2 cuts. That then the 70% probability falls at another 25 basis point with a fraction saying they may go half. I don't know. They're not that dovish, nor should they be, in my opinion, yet. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's what the market is now looking for. Keep in mind, one of the things that we are looking for is what has the market built in as expectations? What is their response if those expectations aren't met? So if there's a time where the market's building in hopes of a half a point, a full 50 basis points, and then they only get 25, what's the reaction? What's the response? So there it is. Okay. It's a doji, but it's a doji that's higher than it was. We'll see. A lot can happen in these last 35 minutes. If we pop into the internals of today, that's 1 minute. I want 5 minutes. Sorry. You can see that was a real, it started to sell off and then bam, tweezer hold. Tweezer hold is a candle pattern that is fairly significant. Where, I actually think we may see this thing rally up a little bit more. If we get up near 475, the buyers did their job and overcame any selling. So that was interesting for sure. Okay. Let's talk about what we saw this week. We had an above average volume day for sellers, followed by an above average volume day for buyers. Okay. When you look at that and you look at the fact that we're going to lose a little bit, I think the volume's going to drop a half a point or not. Sorry, drop to a half a point. I think it's going to drop from 0.75 to 0.5. As far as the trend goes, nothing new has happened since here. We've just kind of meandered a little bit. It's neither here nor there. I don't think we've seen a low yet. I'm wondering if the next short-term trend that we're moving into is trying to find an angle maybe along these lines, and we may or may not see this. That's a pretty good trend. I'd probably say that's 1.5. That would actually slow us down a titch if that's what ends up happening. We don't know yet. Right now we're at 175. That would be about a 1.5. Okay. I think we're pretty close to what it is. And if we have to dial back at some point, we will. Long-term trend's not going to change. So as far as the first half, I would say likely to go down a quarter. Yeah. Sector rotation, I see no change. Volatility, I see no change. It never spiked enough to test my consolidation range. Let me pull this up and let me know if you see it differently. What was interesting was, tell me if you saw this, okay? This morning, the market opened higher and was pushing, and the VIX was actually up a little bit, up a little bit. You can see on our candles here that at one point it looked like this. And I'm like, what is going on? That was this morning. What is going on? But now, after the market had a weird little sell-off and is now trying to recover from it, if this is all I saw, I'd be thinking, oh man, this looks like a great time to think about entering. That's it's not a lower high, but it's in this stay low, stay low. It never broke it tested the, such a bad line. Oh, that's embarrassing. Hold on. Hold on. I'm better than that. It tested, but never broke. Right? Tested, but didn't break. And it held inside of its range. I think that looks fantastic for the VIX. When you look at this, do you think, oh my God, look at the fear coming in? No, we don't see that. This actually gives me bullish prospects. Like I said, that it's holding on to this and looking like it's trying to bounce. This looks like it wants to hook back to the downside. That's great. We love entries there and there, right? And there. Those are great entries. If you were to look at, I'm going to put these up, especially these that are lower highs. I'm not going to do the other one, even though it's somewhat viable. But if you just look at these two, and I switch this out for SPY, look at those entries. I think we could live with that, right? Look what came afterwards. Big bullish move, big bullish move. What does it look like? We could see a big bullish move out of this? I absolutely think so. Yes. So, and we're still very bullish on our posture. Market looks good. I want to be patient with things. Yeah. Sector rotation, I think, is going to stay. VIX is going to stay. We maybe get a quarter point back on major market. Hard to say. So I think we're going to end up 625 or 65, which to me means we're as strong as we were. We just had a nice surge in the underlying strength of the market. We're in a good place. Fantastic. Our watch list looks good. Last couple of months of trading have looked great. No problems at all. Let's get to the list. Apple looks like a beautiful setup ready to trigger next week. Will I take it next week, even though volume's going to lighten up? Absolutely. Markets can still move. Signal is a signal. That one looks pretty good. You maybe got in and out. I did. Got in, got back out. Very small loss. Anybody else in the insurers? And now I'm a little more inclined to pass on the insurers because the money's going into the banks and the brokers. We caught this when the insurers started a little bit early, but now they're a little bit failing. I did anticipate, which means that my loss was not terrible, but yeah, I took a little loss. Anyone else? AFL, AIG? I know a few of you have been trading those. AMD, still waiting for a consolidation. Still waiting. Amazon, still waiting. There's no rush. Neither of these look to me like, oh man, I'm missing a trade. Yeah, there's so much good on our watch list that you should not be in any way, shape, or form forcing a trade. Either the signal looks the way you want, even if you recognize that it is a little anticipatory. Let me ask this. Who's taken some anticipatory trades where you're like, yeah, I'm getting in with only price on my side, but not stochastics, or I'm getting in because I like the candle, even though the stow maybe hasn't turned. Let me know if you're seeing some of those. Perry, yes, love it. Love it. And that's why I feel like it's important for us to set a tone so that we're not like, should I or shouldn't I this time? AXP. Okay, I love that. Press said he did with AMD, but the market turned and he jumped out. I agree. Did the same. Yeah, getting in an anticipatory fashion should help us to be willing to take the loss. Keep it. Expensive contract. Yep. Definitely, I'm willing to take anticipatories. This one here, AXP, I still see this as in its consolidation. There's a chance that this had a 1-day consolidation and this is where it takes off. And if it does, I will miss it. I really don't like trading 1-day consolidations. It's not even a flag. I want at least a flag. I don't think so. I think it's still hitting this and could bounce down from here. My entry point is around 175. That's really where I would like to find this, is back at 175. I've got enough on my watch list that I get to dictate what I want, right? I get to look at this and be like, no, I'm not going to stress over this. There's plenty of other financials that I'm sure will provide a signal. I'm going to wait for this one to come back here. Boeing in its consolidation. How's the consolidation going for the sellers? They're very weak. No volume, no movement down. This might not drop too far at all, right? A few points and then we look to catch it. Boeing, like Apple, looks very tradable very soon. BK. Oh, I don't love the candle. I'm not itching to trade the Friday before a 3-day weekend. This looks very close, right? The stochastics is coming down. The price action, the sellers have shown absolutely an inability to move this stock back down. Supply and demand. So what do I think? Put it on the list. BLDR. Oh, a little bit of a fluctuation here. Valid for me. BLDR, this is, we actually, if anyone's been with us since like May, June, July, Perry, I think you traded this one back then with me. Or I know we looked at several trades on this one. This is an old friend. Yes, exactly right. It's an old friend. It's coming back. Heard we were having a Christmas party. Wants to join in. Great. Come on in. Get a glass of eggnog. We're ready for another dance. So, yes, I like this one. Where's our vol? Here's an interesting one. Vol is low, but the range of vol is high. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you look at SPY for a reference point, low is 13, high is 22. So when these are expensive, they're not terrible. But when I look at BLDR, low is 40, high is 60. So even when these are cheap, they're still relatively expensive. You just have to prepare yourself for what you're going to see. Would I still be a buyer? Probably so. Yeah, it's still in the bottom quartile, right? The bottom 25%. That's definitely a good place for a buying range. What are my thoughts? Well, let's take a look and see what this has done, just to see where. Just look at that, blue skies. There is no resistance. There is no resistance. This looks fantastic. It looks a little overbought, right? Remember what we said. It looked a little overbought right here too. And then what? And then it went higher, 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 higher. We traded it May, June, and July. And the entire time it was overbought on the stochastics from the weekly chart. What does that mean? Remember that in any chart, stochastics is the absolute last and least important part of your analysis. Remember that. That's the fatal flaw of any oscillator. So if everything looks good and you're like, but it's overbought, then there is no but for me. Does that make sense? I just want to punch that in because I can remember early in my trading in early into my foray into technical analysis when I would hesitate. What caused me to hesitate? The oscillator, whether it was stochastics, whether it was a MACD, whether it was RSI, that's what would cause me to hesitate. That was the mistake. I want to push that hard because we want to get through that and rely more on price action, less on the indicator. Okay, that's my soapbox for today. That message was brought to you by coffee. That's today's sponsor, coffee. No brand, just the delicious beverage. Okay, what's next? Let me get out of this. Yeah, maybe we'll have time. Let's come back to that potentially. I don't think you have to rush. BLK. That's anticipatory. Stochastics hasn't turned. That looks pretty good. Can we wait? Of course we can wait. We can decide if we want to wait for Heiken Ashi. Ooh, wait a second. There's the Heiken. It's not a huge body, but I see that pretty similar. I like this one, actually. I like this one. Do I have potential trades built that I'm ready to fire? That's something I want to point out. I'm glad I brought that up. When I say this is on my short list, I'm going to go in and I'm going to start building the trade. I want to build it as it stands now. And then if it the next day I'll adjust and I'll say, oh, you know what? Now I'd put my stop here and my target here. And I want that trade ready to, I'm well in front of it. I don't want it to be, here's the trigger. Now hurry and go build the trade. I want the trade built. That's my advice to build to put into your trading this at the end of this year and into your resolutions. Don't just have a trade already in mind. You already are thinking stop. You're already thinking target. You're already thinking time frame. You already got the contractor thinking about. So by the time the signal comes, like right now, if you already have this on your list and you're like, you know what, I agree with Scott. You go in there and you hit confirm and send, and that trade's off and running. Right? I don't think there's a rush. I think we can wait. But I think there are some of these that are going to be taken. BX. I never had much of a pullback, but same thing. It looks like it's breaking out of its flag. City. Nope. Caterpillar. Still consolidating. Capital One. Still consolidating. So if you're like, I'm not sure about those, great, then wait. Because there's still signals to be waiting for. ConocoPhillips, no. Costco. Looks pretty good. No stochastics, but it seems to be trying to break out of its flag. The volume is light, but remember, volume is going to lighten up. Very much so. CrowdStrike, still viable, still something. So I have a couple from technology, a couple from financials. I've got a industrial, a lot of signals setting up for next week. Also got trades that are getting put on. CSX, no. At resistance, waiting for the pullback. Delta, industrials. Would this be considered an anticipatory trade? Yes. It's pinching. It seems to be breaking. Not a lot of confirmation. Could you wait for Tuesday confirmation? Yes. Could you trade it now anticipatory? Yes. Yes. DHI. I don't love that. It still seems like it's trying to figure some things out. Let me know if any of these were on your radar. Let me know if any of these you're pulling the trigger. I'm going to just keep kind of going through. Still looks to be consolidating. Both of which could fire easily any day next week. So we have all kinds of trades lined up. We should be ready to trade next week. Fastenal overextended. I couldn't do it. The stochastics is the only thing that looks good there. Price just looks overextended. 4 dojis in a row. Volume's really dropped off. No way I would look at something like that. Fluor. Now that looks viable for an industrial trade as well. I've got Boeing. I've got Fluor. I mean, that's we've got Delta. Industrials looks great. Gold. Press took some profit today. He mentioned it in his post on Discord. Still in. Take some more. Carrying this one. I'm glad to see precious metals back up. I bought a little for the kids. Carrying. Good. Okay. Google. Woohoo. Who still has a piece of their Google on? I'm having a hard time. I think I'm done with the last piece. There was only the last piece, the last third sold yesterday. It's a good trade yesterday. Anyone else carrying? I'm in that same boat. I don't love it's really at the same place it tested. I've got a 3-day weekend, volume dropping. Good time to finish it off. Good run, agreed. Gap. I took the loss. I got out. And I don't like the way it's looking now. Anybody else? I took this and then I closed the next day. Very much like I know a few of you have taken some. We're gonna take losses still. Spread trade still in. Time's on your side. I could see you staying with that one. I think you have some potential still. Directional trade? No, it was an absolute no for me, right? Take the loss. Fail fast, fail cheap. That's words to live by. Yeah. Okay. Home Depot setting up. Great. I actually like Home Depot better than Gap now. I mean, come on. Doesn't it feel like Gap's kind of, I haven't stepped foot in a Gap in years. Years. Decade at least, probably. But Home Depot, I love Home Depot. So IBM, bam. There it is. Let's talk about it. I threw this on earlier. It's actually about break even. So if you like it, what did I do? Let me show you the trade on IBM that I looked at. I went January. I went out of the money 165s, $1.49 a piece. Stop set around 159 and a quarter. So basically for me, it would have to break below this low and get down into here, right? That's the stop. Now, if it starts to veer off of the path, then I'm going to make adjustments. Of course I am. I don't have a Heiken Ashi yet. That is not. It's very close, but it's not. It's still transition candle. I need a bigger body than that, but it's very close. So that if on Tuesday it's a positive day, the stop will move. What's the middle of this? Open one, we'll call it 161. 161.30. I'll be able to move my stop to 161.05. And I'll take half the risk out of the trade. The reward to risk ratio here, target is 170. Where's that target? Oh, I'm sticking with this line. I am sticking with this line, which ends right up here at 170 on January 8th. When did I figure my time until? Next Friday. The only way I'm going to stay in past next Friday is if it's working or I've adjusted my stop, right? So you can see the loss is only projected to be about $200, pretty easy on the position size. Right? I when I'm doing examples, try to keep it around a $200 to $300 loss. $200 to $300 is a sweet spot because if you have a $10,000 account and take 2 to 3% risk, that's your spot. If you have a $25,000, $30,000 account and take 1% risk, that's your spot. Some people even have 50, 60 and they're only taking 0.5% risk. That's their spot, 2 to 300. Pretty good spot, right? So it's pretty broadly applicable. That's what this trade is. Look, could have gone a third contract, but right there it is. So 4 to 1. Now, if it takes until the 5th, you can see there's not much time decay up here. That value is going to sustain, right? For the vast majority, but from there, hard to carry through another weekend. That's the trade. 4 to 1, out of the money. You can see the reward to risk. You can see the stop and the target. Let me put this back. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Stop loss is just underneath this low. Now, let's have some fun for 1 second. No, let me get through the rest of the watch list. Then we'll go look at the other spreads. ICE. That's, again, a one-day consolidation. There's nothing I could do with that. I'm going to wait and watch. Intel got out on Monday with the rest of the trade. Nothing there for me that signaled. There was, again, I don't know. Did anyone get back in? Still in? Love it. Well done. Well done. Followed my plan. Didn't get anything else. Waiting for whatever comes next. Both Stephen and Perry are still in. Well done. Should be pretty good profits there. IWM, not a signal, but it just keeps looking stronger. So I'm wondering when that's going to have an impact on our major market. Add a little bit. Could be this week, like I said. JP Morgan, okay, I'd like to see this pull back a little bit and get a run. Those are good runs. I want one of them. KKR, beautiful setup. We could take that for financials. Look at what we have. We have trades setting up, ready to trigger in technology. We have them in industrials. We have them in financials. Communication services, no. Overextended, I think. Discretionary, maybe. We have a trade setting up in Home Depot. Had a failed trade in Gap. So yeah, I think we have setups coming in 4 out of 5 sectors right now. MasterCard, no, nothing there. Meta, oh, finishing that one as well. That was a good one. Anybody else still have that? Take that, have some. That was another one. Real good signal. Super glad not to get shaken out. Were profits taken? Didn't get shook, took some profit, ride the rest. Beautiful, right? Took a third to a quarter, rode the rest. That was the good one. Not getting shook out on that day. That can shake you out. We all know it can. Microsoft, those who are still in it, I hope you have time decay either mitigated or on your side, because it's going to start just chewing away. This was one 2 weeks ago where I took the loss there. So Gap and Microsoft, those are the losers. Netflix, still waiting for that consolidation, but willing to trade out of it. Nvidia, still waiting for the consolidation, but willing to trade out of it. So Netflix is a communication services. We may have even an opportunity developing in that sector. Definitely another one in technology. Picard, overextended, nothing for us. Maybe. This is consumer discretionary, PDD, maybe. PLTR, maybe. I'm willing to consider it. PNC, maybe. Their sellers have had some opportunity. They haven't done anything with it. QQQ, no. I have plenty of other things that look better than that. And I'm not saying no, like I don't like it. It looks bullish. I'm just saying we have other things that look better. RCL, overextended. Rivian, consumer discretionary. No, I would put that. I guess they would put that more in automakers, industrials. Kind of skirts the two. Looks bullish though. Roku, I didn't like it. For me, it's in a consolidation. Some people like trading on bounces off the 50. You can see it can do some things. I prefer to wait for the consolidation to break. That's my thought. ROST, nah, I don't really like that. I'm going to get rid of that. There's no reason to watch something that we're not going to trade. Shopify. Shopify looks close. SMCI looks close. I don't know about Snap. Here is SPY. Looks like we're going to end slightly positive, but flat. Tesla is not one I might get rid of Tesla soon. UBS, a little overextended. We have better. VIX really looking good. I like that signal going into next week. I got to tell you. WFC, another financial, setting up beautifully. Whoever took this one, I have no doubt you feel like your horse has rested, fed, and ready to go again. WMB, energy doesn't really have much for us. Neither does Walmart. US Steel. I mean, you might think it looks good. It's a buyout candidate of Nippon Steel. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Here is materials. You can see why I say consumer or communication services looks a little overextended, but hey, if Netflix gives a signal, maybe. Energy doesn't have much for us. Financials looks like it could be turning. So does industrials. So does technology. Staples, I don't know. I don't feel like I have any interest in defensives right now, even though they look like they could be. There's no interest for me there. Let me know if I missed one. Steven said he took CC today. Let's take a peek. Yeah, like it. Nice consolidation coming up out of it. Very much. I love it. I love it. Took CC. Oh, took a covered call on PLTR. Sorry. Not Chemours. Well, that one looks pretty good. PLTR covered call. I went too fast. Okay, very nice. Very, very nice. Let's take a look at some time spreads. Okay, so let me walk you through this. I'm gonna uncheck all of this. The first one of these that got put on, you can go back. I went through this in the recording last night, was the 470 about a week ago. 470 about a week ago. And you can see when I put it on, it was here. The market's come up a little bit, and now it's out here. A week later, this trade is up about 25%. Now, yesterday we talked about what if we put another one on? So we said, or started a new one. Either one would work. If I started as a new one, it looks like this. It looks like it filled, but this because during how it fluctuated, it filled. But if you look, this trade is already up a couple $100. Did anyone take this live? And if I put the two together, it looks like this. What does this mean? Now, I'll tell you right now, the big part of this that makes me very happy, let me circle it for you, and then I'm going to advance but if you look here, that's what I get per day. Well, I'm about to hit a weekend. So I get Saturday, and now the trade, I want you to look, we went, we're at 540, still 545 on Saturday, 612 on Sunday, 680 on Monday, 770 by Tuesday. That's when the market opens back up. I don't have to do anything. This thing's going to close in 6 minutes. The next time it opens is on 12/26. This trade should have $300 more value come Tuesday morning. Are we meeting Tuesday morning? You're asking? Of course we are. Weekly market opens, not on Monday. It's on Tuesday. Don't forget. Now that's the calendars. I love calendars. It's hard for me to explain them because we taught them yesterday. So go watch that video. Get involved in that. I also did a diagonal. That's this one here. A little bit more expensive. You can see this one is a little different. This one has that same kind of a time decay shape here, but it's more bullish over here, right? This thing can get up much higher. Give me time to adjust it. Give me time to do some things with it. If I put all of these on at once, this is what my positioning on the SPY looks like. And you can see that the whole kit and caboodle is up about 600 tomorrow. Then it goes to 665 on Saturday, 730 on Sunday. By the time we come back, $800. And if it still is just sitting here, then we do what? We wait till Wednesday, and then we wait for Thursday. And by the time we get to Friday, am I going to push it past that? Nah, there's no need. Not the calendars anyways, because next week I can start a calendar that instead of doing January 5th and January 19th, I can do January 12th and January 26th. I just start another one and let it start again. These trades can just roll and leapfrog each other constantly. I look at them more like inventory than I look at them as speculative trades. I hope this makes sense. If you didn't see last night, it's going to not make as much, but I want us to have this more sophisticated dimension to our capabilities as traders. When the implied volatility is low and we take the time to learn and understand what that means, we should have strategies that we can pull out that complement our directional trade. We're always going to directionally trade. Yes, always. When the market gets choppy, we do less. When the market gets better, like now, we do more. But what's great is that what we have now is better directional trading, and we have the ability to do these Vega positive. You can see how big my Vega is, my Vega positive strategy. Vega positive means I benefit if volatility goes up. Where's volatility now? Historic lows. Awesome. Awesome. These are higher probability trades. Everything about these are complementary. Next week on Tuesday, we're talking butterflies and condors. Those are trades that we can put on when a market has dropped and we think it's done dropping, and we can get some time decay there as things get figured out. So I want to make sure that you have all the arrows in your quiver you need for the various market conditions that we're going to see, because you're taking the time to truly assess and understand market conditions. And that's a huge advantage. It's the purpose and the name of the group. If we're going to go through all that, then we should have a series of trading strategies that we have the ability to pull out that complements our directional trading, regardless of what else the market is doing. So, what do you think? Good times, right? Good times. I'm excited. I'm excited for Christmas. I'm excited for next week, because I think next week we're going to have some great opportunities, a great window. We have the ability to manage existing trades, take a few, and also put more on next week. Everything looks great. I'm happy. I'm excited. What does that mean? It means I'm very much also looking at the VIX. I'm looking at sector rotation to see, hey, is there all of a sudden a surge in the defensives? No. Was there a surge in the VIX? No. Was there a higher low in the VIX? No. Do I see a surge in the Dow and a drop in the NASDAQ and the Russell? No. None of the signs that tell me something a little untoward is happening and the sellers are trying to rise up. None of that is there. I'm looking for it. I'm actively looking for it. The more bullish I get, the more actively I'm looking for it. So anyways, I feel ready to go. All right. That's going to do it. That's going to do it. Perry said, Merry Christmas, everyone. I echo that sentiment. Merry Christmas. Happy Festivus for the rest of us. You certainly should bring out feats of strength and the airing of grievances to your holiday cheer. Nothing better. I'll see you guys Christmas Eve for an hour, and we'll make sure and we'll go from there. When I do a debit spread, what's the target delta? Look at Fred sneaking in a hugely sophisticated debit spread question right at the end. He snuck it in. I'm going to answer. I don't necessarily have a target delta, but you're typically going to find your delta. I would say, God, if I just had to estimate it, Fred, I'd say like around 25. I mean, it really slows the delta down by doing a spread. So I don't have a target, but if I were to look at spreads that I build, I would say on average somewhere between a 0.2 and a 0.25 as the net delta on the spread. Great question. Hopefully that helps. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your Friday, your Saturday. I'll see you Sunday. If I don't see you, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, etc. And as always, happy trading.